Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland. I'm going to play a little audio of a conversation I had with a scholastic who is a good representation of the scholastic mind that is one of the chunks that creates the illusion. Here you go. Enjoy. I'll be right back.
Instead, was they went to the British. They were asking for about.
What was that?
What the Zionists did was they went to the British. They were asking for a Balfour Declaration,
And this is what the guy talks
giving the seal of approval of the British Empire, giving the homeland to Jews in Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
And what they said did was they told.
And he just was talking about what occurred in 16, 17, right? And then he, without really any kind of connection,
Told the British that one of the sweeteners for them would be they could get the Americans to come in to the war.
The First World War.
Yeah.
And how did they do that?
I don't think she addressed how they did it. There was a point that they were willing to use their influence. I've told you that the Saudi ambassador, Prince Bandar, a long time ago,
we were talking about
started off
1917.
being the ambassador to the U.S. He told this guy, no, a Japanese, the Japanese ambassador to the U.S.
This is a college professor. This is an academic.
Told the Saudi ambassador, if we want something from the Americans, we go through the Israelis.
But the Israelis didn't exist.
What?
In 1917, Israel didn't exist.
I wouldn't talk about 1917 on that.
Wasn't that in 1917?
You asked me the question, how did they do it? And I told you then about an experience that an ambassador to Saudi Arabia shared with a guy
1983.
about the Japanese, saying to him, if we want something
1917.
from the Americans, we go through the Israelis.
And what year was that when the Japanese said that?
This was probably 84.
So we went from 1917 to 1980.
Oh, come on now, man. You're making me lose interest.
But I don't understand how we got to 1984 when we were talking about understanding.
We were talking philosophically.
We weren't talking about understanding. I mean, we had left that, and the subject was, do you know who Allison Weir is?
Oh, but we were talking about understanding, and then you asked me, did I know who Allison Weir were? And I heard that name, but I didn't know anything about it.
I thought we were talking about
We got to 1980. I mean, it's.
Well, the year is irrelevant. The year is not particularly relevant to the story. The relevant part of the story, Al, is that the Israelis have so much influence over us.
Anyway, that's just a kind of understanding or overstanding. I mean, he comes from understanding. What's so understanding? That is when someone's stepping on your head. They're above you. That's under overstanding. Overstanding is seeing things from the mountaintop, what's down below. Understanding is when the shoe is on your head, right? Anyway, so here we are, and it's a countdown to November, whatever. I mean, we're actually counting down to next Tuesday when they have the September 10th when they have their little discourse, and it'll be what it'll be. Might be fun, might be humorous. Cam will eat him alive. And if he gets really upset, he'll leave the podium. He'll leave the microphone that they turned off and start screaming at her face. That'll be good. Donald Trump can win. He can. Pretty much every State of the Union is locked up already, right? And it's a repeat of 2020, right? Same states. And so there's two states that are in play, and that's Pennsylvania and Georgia. Donald Trump wins those. He wins. We have 4 years of Donald Trump. That should be interesting. And if Cammie gets them, it'll be either way, we're already in a dystopian society. It's just becoming clearer and clearer to be understood. I'm going to let you just listen to this. I have to go. I'll be right back. Maybe 3 or 4 minutes.
So if the Japanese government wants something from America, they go through and work with the Israelis to make it happen. That's the relevant point.
I thought the relevant point was, why do we watch the news?
I'm losing interest real quick.
But, I mean, how can, we were talking about that for a good 10 minutes and never came to a relevant point, because every time I brought up, a philosophic kind of thing, you were saying about understanding and belief, and I mean that's kind of what we were talking about, but belief structures and why people do the things they do, motivated by their beliefs, right? And not too much on a specific historical, political dynamic. We were talking more about philosophic points. I mean, at least that's where I thought our conversation was.
Well, it was. And we spent a lot of time talking about what's the point, what's the objective. And you said entertainment, and I said understanding.
No. You asked me, the question you asked me is, why do we watch the news, right? And I said, I watch it because it's entertainment.
And I really wasn't asking why you do it. Why do we have news? Why do we have information?
Well,
what is the whole idea of that?
I said the reason why our modern society, and pretty much all societies through recorded history that we know of, news is put there as propaganda. The king told us how it was. The Pope told us how it was. Then the politics. That's all news.
Yes, and yes. It still doesn't answer the question.
What? The question is, why do people watch the news? The news.
Yeah, why would someone be motivated to turn on the news?
And I would say because they watch it because it's entertaining. And the news, the people who like Hearst and Pulitzer, and then Mr. CBS and NBC, they put the news on not as some kind of social thing that high lofty thing. They did it to make money. So how do you make money but entertain?
Why do we read a book?
We read a book basically to entertain ourselves. People read textbooks and who are basically academically inclined do it because Two reasons, right? One, it gives them a sense of authority and meaning.
Back to the ego again.
Right, exactly. And that's pretty much what most people are motivated by is their ego. Most people have no higher sense. Most people don't, meaning if you really want to enjoy your life, you don't do it just for yourself. You do it for the we and me. Then it's, and that's kind of what I do. Everything I do, I, not everything, but majority of the things, more than half of the stuff I do, I interact with people. I have a number of skill sets that I can, be there for people, and that gives me a great deal of joy. When I can make someone happy, when I can make someone feel good, when I can help someone overcome a question or a problem, that's what makes me feel good. Not making more
money. That's what makes all people feel good. That's what Jesus Christ had to say.
Yeah. So I kind of go in that direction. So I'm not looking at any ideological.
So we're talking about you.
Yeah. Well, that's, I'm talking to you. So we're talking about each other, right? Because that's the point.
No, we're not. I was philosophizing on how, on the nothingness of existence, people coming up with the goddamnedest ideas about what it's about, and they get latched onto that.
Right, and because they basically are relatively scared about their life, because it is a crazy piece of craziness, and you really can't put order to it at all. There is no order. When you really break down to it, it makes no sense. And that's why people have belief structures. That's why they're a religion.
I thought that was my point.
Well, I'm agreeing with your point.
Okay, well, I mean, that is the exact point I made.
Well, so I'm agreeing with that.
But I don't need to make points, right? I need overstanding, right? But seeing things from above, taking it out of the perspective. Oh, somebody said something. Somebody said, is Trump genuine being anti-war president? Is this the reason so much effort has been made to take him out? No, Donald Trump is what is known as the loyal opposition. He's representing something that a lot of people feel, but he doesn't care. All Donald Trump cares about is himself, right? So he's reading a script, period. He's not representing you or me or anybody else but himself, right? And he's got himself into such a pickle that he has to do exactly what he's told. So this whole election is choreographed, right? Everything about it. I mean, how did one guy die and two people get mortally wounded in Pennsylvania? And Donnie, if you look at his ear, he doesn't even have a scar. And if you look, and how come no one is really investigating this, right? Because forensics is a real science. I mean, if you watch CSI, and pretty much they can tell by the entry wound of the three people who got shot where the bullets came from. And from my, I mean, not even, they're not access, but just kind of seeing what TV people did. This guy died over here, and they were all in front of Donnie. So the bullets came from behind him, right? From different angles, not just that one guy. And they had a bead on that guy 4 minutes before he started shooting. I mean, really? You're going to wait for him to shoot to blow his head? And they blew his head off. You can't even tell who it is. I mean, it's so many hinky things. This guy's walking around he had drones up there looking at the space. He had, he's just walking around. They have, photographs and video of him because, while everyone's like, yay, he's like, it's like the people told the cops told the Secret Service, and nothing happened. So what did they do? They stick Donnie in a glass box. So it's people you kind of have to wake up. Go watch George Carlin on YouTube, and you have to start with yourself. Get yourself right, then get your family right, and your friends right, and where you work right, and your community right, your neighborhood, your town, your state. Start working in that way, right? And what you will see, like that's what I'm doing around here. And what I see is the representation of everything that's going on in this country right here in this lake out in the middle of nowhere. Rich people coming in, buying up all the poor people's property, throwing them out on the street. There's 1,300 people who are basically either in jail, dead, or living in the woods, eating bark. So, that's basically what I'm doing. So, yeah. Trump is not genuine. See, he's so ungenuine. He is genuine. He lies so much, he tells the truth. That's the beauty of Donald Trump. You just have to deconstruct him to see what he really is. Right? So that's kind of what it is. And yeah, any other questions? I like having the discourse. I'm going to come back later this afternoon, maybe 2-ish, give or take, and go from there. Okay? Love you guys. I got a bunch of errands I have to do before lunch. So it's about to turn 10, so I'm going to get off and do it. Okay.